In the quiet town of Springfield, Ohio, preparations were in full swing for the annual Springfield's Got Talent show. Locals filled the community hall, buzzing with excitement and a bit of friendly rivalry. Dancers, comedians, teen rock bands, everyone was eager for their 5 minutes of fame. But when 72-year-old Martha Jenkins walked onto the stage, the crowd chuckled, unsure if this was some kind of joke. She wore a simple floral dress, her gray hair pinned neatly in a bun. No flashy entrance, no dramatic introduction, just a gentle smile as she shuffled toward the microphone. A group of teenagers in the front row nudged each other, snickering. "She's somebody's grandma, right?" one whispered. "What's she gonna do? Knit us a sweater?" another joked. Even the judges, seated behind a long table draped in bright banners, exchanged amused glances. One leaned forward with a patronizing grin. "And what will you be doing for us tonight, ma'am?" Martha gave a small nod. "I'll be singing a song, a special one." No one was prepared for what came next. The instrumental intro to Whitney Houston's "I Will Always Love You" filled the room. The laughter died down into murmurs. "Is she serious?" someone muttered from the back. But then, Martha sang. From the very first note, the room fell silent. Her voice, rich, soulful, incredibly powerful, carried decades of emotion. The shaky hands everyone expected were nowhere to be found. Instead, she held the microphone with quiet confidence, eyes closed, pouring her heart into every word. Her voice soared effortlessly, each note ringing out with a rawness that silenced even the harshest skeptics. By the second verse, not a whisper could be heard. The same teens who had laughed before now sat frozen, phones forgotten in their laps. The judges leaned forward, mesmerized. One whispered to another, "She's not just good, she's phenomenal." As Martha built toward the high note, tension filled the room. And when she hit it, flawlessly, an audible gasp swept through the crowd. A tear slipped down a woman's cheek in the third row. The old man beside her reached for a tissue. Strangers clasped hands. It didn't feel like a performance. It felt like truth, a moment of beauty shared by all. As the final note faded into the hush of the auditorium, Martha stood still. No dramatic bow, no seeking applause, just quiet dignity. For a heartbeat, the room held its breath. Then, thunderous applause. A standing ovation erupted, echoing through the hall like a long-overdue celebration. Martha Jenkins blinked, clearly surprised. She hadn't come for this. She had simply come to sing, to share a memory. Backstage, the host wiped at his eyes and stepped back onto the stage, raising a hand to calm the crowd. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, voice thick with emotion, "that was something special." The judges were already on their feet. The lead judge, a former music producer named Alan Price, leaned into the mic. "Martha," he said, "I've heard professionals train for years and not come close to what you just gave us. Where did you learn to sing like that?" Martha stepped gently up to the microphone, hands folded. "I used to sing," she said softly, "a long time ago, but life had other plans." The audience listened, hanging on every word. "I was accepted to a music conservatory in New York when I was 18, she continued. "But my father got sick. I stayed behind to care for my family. I worked as a waitress, then a librarian. I never stopped singing, just never on a stage like this." Alan blinked. "So you gave it all up for your family?" Martha nodded, smiling. "They were my stage for many years. My husband, my children, they were always my greatest audience." Suddenly, a young woman in the crowd shouted, "You should be on The Voice or Broadway." Martha laughed softly. "Well, I might be a little late for Broadway, but today was enough." Backstage, a local news crew was already interviewing attendees. cameras turned to capture the moment. Within hours, the video went viral, shared across every platform with captions like, "Grandma with a golden voice stuns crowd," because real talent has no expiration date. The next morning, Martha awoke to a flood of phone calls, offers from talent scouts, an invitation to sing at a regional music festival, even an email from a famous talk show. But what meant the most was the handwritten note slipped under her door. It was from one of the teenagers who'd laughed at her the night before. "Dear Miss Martha, I'm sorry for judging you before you sang. You taught me something I'll never forget. That real talent and heart can't be seen from the outside. Thank you." Martha smiled, eyes misting. She folded the note and placed it gently in a keepsake box, right beside an old photo of her younger self holding a microphone. Proof that dreams, even when paused, never really die. That weekend, she performed again. But this time, not as a joke. This time, as the star.